This Lent 2021, the Carmelite Sisters of Baltimore have invited 5 people to share their prophetic dreams, their hope for a transformed world. Our prophetic dreamer for the third Sunday of Lent is Dr. Kim Harris.
Well, that man over there says that women need to be helped into carriages, lifted over ditches, and given the best place everywhere. Well, nobody ever helps me into carriages or over mud puddles or gives me any best place. And ain't I a woman? Ain't I a woman? Look at me, look at my arm. I have plowed and planted and gathered into barns, and no man could head me. And ain't I a woman? Ain't I a woman? Now I could work as much and eat as much as any man when I could get it. I had to bear the lash as well. And ain't I a woman? Ain't I a woman? I have borne 5 children, seen all of them sold off into slavery. And when I cried out with a mother's grief, none but Jesus heard me. Oh, none but Jesus heard me. And ain't I a woman? Ain't I a woman? Now that man over there says that women can't have the same rights as a man, 'cause Christ wasn't a woman. He says Christ wasn't a woman. Well, where did your Christ come from? From God and a woman. And man didn't have nothing to do with it. Words that Sojourner Truth used in 1851 at a women's rights convention in Akron, Ohio. But that's not how she ended the speech. She said, if the first woman God ever made was strong enough to turn the world upside down all alone, these women together ought to be able to turn it back and get it right side up again. And now they is asking to do it. The men better let them do it. Wow. Sojourner Truth. Yes, it is Women's History Month. And I hope that you're having a good Women's History Month and a productive and prayerful and reflective Lent. But as I sing that song and remember the sheroes from the time of enslavement, I also think about people like, well, Sojourner Truth, of course, and Harriet Tubman, and even some of their brothers like Frederick Douglass. And I think about how they thought of their faith. Their faith. You see, they used to say things like, there are 2 Christianities. 2. A slave-holding Christianity and an abolitionist Christianity. Yes. And even though people in those Christianities, they read the same Bible and would gather together and they would sing the same songs and all, and yet there were 2 Christianities. One that supported slaveholding and oppression, and one that was working for liberation, empowerment, and freedom. And I imagine that if they could be with us today, they would probably say that, especially in this nation, there are at least 2 Christianities. And so as I think about where we want to be, where we could be after this time of the pandemic of COVID-19 and the continuing pandemic of racism, even as we're starting to see a bit of a glimmer at the end of the tunnel, and some of us have arms that are hurting like me because they got the vaccine. But as we think about what could be coming next, we need to ask ourselves, which side are we on? What is our Christianity? Is it one that is for freedom, for empowerment, to help bring an end to poverty, to help to work against climate change for our poor earth? Is it one that will help with those who are unhoused, underfed, with those who don't have enough health care? You know, these things, we can see them even more clearly as this double pandemic has torn the lid off of those things that maybe we didn't know, maybe we didn't want to see, or maybe we just didn't see. So we have to ask ourselves, the way they sang that old song, you know? Which side are you on? Which side are you on? Oh, which side are you on? Which side are you on? We are called to be people of freedom. We are called to be people of justice. That is right relationships. So in this time that we still have in our quarantine, be thinking about what you're going to do. Take some concrete steps. I'm thinking about, what am I going to do? Take some concrete steps. And when I imagine what Sojourner Truth might say to us as we imagine this time moving forward, she might say, if the first people God ever made were strong enough to turn the world upside down all by themselves, then all of us together ought to be able to turn it back and get it right side up again. And now we are calling out to each other, saying that we have to do it and we better get it done. Amen. Amen and amen.
We hope you will join us next week on the 4th Sunday of Lent, when our prophetic dreamer will be Father Mikhail Woodruff Okarm.